Welcome back to another episode of Run Yogi Diaries. This is your host, Santosh Shiva. If you're new to the channel, please do remember to subscribe, hit like if you like this conversation, and leave your comments below and let us know what you took away. Extremely excited to have in the house today Ricky Singh, a mountaineer, ultra runner, and a marathoner of some tremendous repute. We get behind the scenes on his journey, his lessons that we can take away in our own practice. So let's dig in. Hi Ricky, welcome to Run Yogi Diaries.
Good evening, Santosh. How are you? Hope everything is well.
Everything is well. It's even better now talking to you.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you.
Awesome. So Ricky, thanks for joining the show, and you have a phenomenal track record as a recreational endurance athlete, and we're here to find out how and why and how you did it. But before that, let me maybe take a stab at introducing who you are. Ricky, you are an entrepreneur. I understand you have diversified business, everything from technology to gas stations to a whole bunch. Your blog talked about that. Married, kids, live in Delaware, and what else? And of course, you have a phenomenal background of recreational athletics as a passion that you follow. What I missed?
Uh, well, what I want to be is, I want to be a good father, a good husband, good son, and just a good all-round person. So everything else comes around it. Everything else really is
Right.
a byproduct of being good to your environment, good to the people around you, and
Right.
also good to yourself. Good to your body, good to your mind. So
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
all the things we do kind of stems from being in a good space and wanting to do even better, wanting to be
Yeah.
good for yourself and for everyone around you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think your journey definitely epitomizes all of that. Great. So Ricky, I think we should start with some flashback, right? And get a sense of your journey. You're a 50 states marathon finisher. You have multiple 100 mile of finishes to your credit, including Badwater. And I saw Brazil 135. Never heard of that this first time. So that seems like a pretty interesting race you've done. And you've come to my backyard in Rocky Raccoon in Huntsville, and a whole lot of other amazing 100 milers. You're also a mountaineer, right? You've summited some tough Himalayan summits, including Everest. So there's a lot going on there. So maybe we should do a bit of flashback. And how did it all start?
Well, it all started when my kids were born. I was kind of a late bloomer, so I was in my early 30s when my kids were born. And, I just looked at myself and said, I can do better. I wanted to be there when they grew up. I wanted to play soccer with them. I wanted to dance at their weddings. I want to play with my grandkids. All the things that, people want to do with their kids, I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And I just wanted to get in good shape. I wasn't in bad shape. I wasn't overweight or obese or had any underlying medical conditions, but I knew I could do better.
Hmm.
I could, go for a walk. I could go for a little run, and I should have, and that's what I did.
Hmm.
So, when I got my kids from hospital, I said, I'm just gonna try and live a better life. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
try and be more responsible, and I wanna live the life that I'm gonna tell them to live. So I wanna,
Hmm.
live by example, not just by words.
Right.
And so, I just started going for a little run. Started with, a few blocks, and then before you know it, in a couple of weeks you're down to a mile, and then did a bunch of 5Ks. So my journey is very linear. Means I
Hmm.
first did a bunch of 5Ks. So almost every weekend we'd go out and do a 5K, and then once I was confident with a 5K, then went with a 10K. Did a bunch of 10Ks, one after another, and then after a month, a couple months, tried my hand at half marathons. and once again did a bunch of half marathons. And then, once I was confident enough, went to a marathon distance, and once again
And
did.
what year are we talking about? Which?
So I started running in 2005.
Hmm, okay.
2006 is when I did my first marathon.
Hmm.
And then after 2006, I've been running marathons, and I didn't finish till 2017. So almost 10 years it took me to do 50 marathons.
Wow, that's an average of 5 marathons a year.
Yeah, well, initially it was one or two a year, and then, towards the end, it was more like one a month. Then it was just a matter of, doing the logistics. So thing
Right.
is, the more you do, the better shape you are, the easier they get. The
Right.
easier on the
Right.
mind, easier on the body, and you're not stressed as much. So it becomes more of a routine thing
Hmm.
than,
Hmm.
something you stress about. So I
And
remember,
and all this was happening in the Delaware area. I mean, you lived all through, or did you
yes,
move around?
no, no, no. I've lived in one place, same house for the last whatever,
Hmm.
20, 30 years. So I just like being in familiar surroundings.
Right. Right. And so what? So your journey seems to be quite linear, like you said, right? It was a very logical, doing the next thing, doing the next thing. Was there someone? I mean, was it self motivated, or was somebody inspiring you? Was there anybody who was kind of giving you a direction, saying, "Hey, why don't you go do the marathon next?" Or was there an external influence as well?
Well, there's no external influence as such. Most of the external influences were soft influences. Like, you read
Hmm.
something. Around the fourth marathon, I encountered the 50 marathon club, 50 state
Hmm.
club. So, you kind of read up on them, and you like, wow, lots of people have done this, lots of people are doing this, lots of
Hmm.
people are, in a lot worse shape than you, and they're still doing it. Some people are on the third, fourth, fifth loop doing 50 marathons. So,
Hmm.
it takes the fear, the sting out of it. And
Hmm.
then it becomes more normal. You think, okay, all these people are doing it, I can do it too. And then I
Hmm.
kind of did it at my own pace. I wasn't in any rush. There was no, uh, the only limitation was, time and money, and what
Hmm.
else was going on in my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there was no rush. There was nothing pushing or stopping me.
Hmm.
It's
And
all set.
were you always athletic when you're growing up, or is it something that was completely new for you?
So actually, I grew up in India. I did my school in India. So, in India, everybody plays cricket, soccer,
Hmm. Hmm.
hockey. So just the usual things you played around. But,
Hmm.
I came here after high school, right after high school, did my college here, and then pretty sedentary life. You settle
Hmm.
down, you
Hmm.
do your degree, kind of look for employment, or then you stumble upon whatever your calling is in life. Then you get married, have kids. So very normal life. There was
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
athletic about that
Hmm.
up till age 33. I had no desire to go out and run, or no desire to get in better shape, or any. It was just too
Hmm.
busy working, taking care of family, making money, all these things that kind of consume your midlife.
Right. And why did you pick running? I mean, you could have picked tennis, you could have picked basketball. What got you into running?
Uh, so, being in Delaware, there weren't that many Indians around. So, a lot of the things that I like to do, you just
Hmm.
need a team for that, like cricket or running
Right.
was
Right.
something that I could have done on my own, at my own speed, at my own pace. And I didn't start going out for I just started trying to get in better shape. So,
Hmm.
you start with a walk, then a run walk, and then finally a run. So it's a progression in that. It's
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
like sitting down and making a business plan or a plan where you're going to say, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks and then 4 weeks. So there was nothing like that. It was
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
organic. Uh, you look in the mirror, you say, hey, you can do better. Then, you put your shoes on, go outside for a walk, start running a little bit. Don't feel too good, go out of breath pretty quick, and you say, uh, you know,
Yeah.
can we do a little bit better? And then, in a few weeks or in a month, you are able to do better. So it's a progression like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I like the peace, the solitude. I
Hmm.
work in retail with a lot of people. I work with
Hmm.
a lot of other people that work for me, my co-vendors and suppliers. So it's my time. It's me
Hmm.
time.
Right. And I also was reading in your blog that you also started, you got into business, in the, amidst all this, right? And was that before all this running thing started, or was it kind of happening parallelly?
No, no, I had started business right after I graduated from college. So what
Okay.
happened was, while I was in college, I was working night shift at a gas station.
Hmm.
So I always knew that there was money in business because I'd see my boss every few months you get a nice and a nicer car, and then you see some of your other friends and some of the other people that you hang out with, what business lets them do. So
Hmm.
that sort of a lifestyle appealed to me, and
Hmm.
right after I graduated, I managed to start my own business. It was a gas station, a small one, and kind of had to work with my bootstraps, and uh, took me a while to get everything established. And once I did, you get married after that. Once you get some financial stability, then you wait a couple more years to have kids because you want some more financial stability.
Right. Right.
And by that time, the midlife gut comes out, and the crisis begins, and you start saying, hey, I have to do other things besides make money,
Yeah.
and that's where the
There's more to
fitness
life,
bug
right? Yeah.
hit me.
Yeah. But it definitely seems like you're someone who sets your eyes on something and then just goes after it, like, like a machine, right? I mean, it seems like
Uh,
you've done that with
I'm
your
not sure it
business.
goes out like a machine, but it's something that I like to do. I like to have
Hmm.
goals. I like to have a plan, and I like to
Hmm.
kind of follow and take it all the way to the
Yeah.
end. And
Yeah.
those sort of characteristics help you when you're doing, say, mountaineering or ultras. This thing where you can say, okay, one more mile or 5 more minutes, or if I can still go from this pole to that pole. So not easily giving up. So that's
Yeah.
a,
Yeah.
a mental strength that does help in, especially for some of these things that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So, coming back to your running journey, you started started running marathons, and you went on to do the 50 states in 10 years. When did the other elements get into your life, like mountaineering and maybe ultra running? How did that come about? Which was
So
first, actually?
yeah, so around the 40th marathon, as I could see the end of my 50
Hmm.
state journey, I kind of started wondering what to do next.
Hmm.
So of course, one way was to go the ultra route, do a bunch of ultras. But for some reason, Everest has always fascinated me.
Hmm.
When you're in school, there's a whole chapter on Everest, and you read about Tenzing and Hillary, and some of these
Right.
earlier exploits, and it just kind of stuck. And the more I researched, the more I read into it, the more I believed I could do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not forbidden. It was very accessible,
Hmm. Hmm.
especially with some of the resources that I had. I knew that if I just trained hard and had the right people around me and had the right gear and the right training, uh, there was no doubt that I could accomplish. It's
Hmm.
uh, it's not that big of a project anymore.
Hmm.
It's very accessible.
Hmm. And how did you go about it? I mean, did you hire a coach, or did you, go?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
there's some people who go to a mountaineering school and learn basics of mountaineering. Did you have to go do all that, or how do you go about
uh,
it?
So what I did was, thanks to the internet, I searched for people that had summited Everest and
Hmm.
some of the roads that they had taken to the top.
Hmm.
And I, the first thing I did was I went to Nepal and I trekked all the way to Everest Base Camp. So I tried
Hmm.
an outfit, I tried a Sherpa, and with that Sherpa, I went all the way to base camp. So along the way,
Hmm.
you meet lots of people. You kind of in an environment where you're surrounded by people. You're staying in a guest house where the owner of the guest house has summited Everest a
Hmm.
couple times. Your Sherpa has summited Everest a couple times. So just being around people,
Hmm.
you kind of want to pick up as much knowledge as you can from them. So I went to Nepal, specifically Everest Base Camp, 5 different times
Wow.
in a 2.5 year span. So I would go every 6 months, and I would spend 4 to 6 weeks there. So I would trek
Hmm.
there, I would hang out there, and every time I would choose a different company, a different outfit, a different group of Sherpas.
Hmm.
So around my third trip is when I kind of met uh, the people that I thought were
Hmm.
the team, the dream team, the it people, the one that were gonna help me, and then kind of talk with them and come up with a plan. And you say, hey, this is what my final destination is. What do you think I need to do? And then
Hmm.
they kind of make up a plan for you, and they say, okay, let's summit. Let's say Mira Peak, or let's summit Lobuche Peak, and then let's summit Manasalu. So they came up with a plan, and all I did was follow that plan.
Hmm. Interesting. Five EBCs in 2.5 years. That's a pretty serious commitment for someone who's for someone who's living in the United States. And it's not like you have a business, you have a family that you have, and then going out uh, 5 times in 2.5 years must have been a fairly serious commitment on your side, right?
It was, and it's for all the reasons that you said that I
Hmm.
wanted to be careful. I wanted to come back.
Hmm.
So Everest was, of course, it's a dream, but I did want to come back to my home, my business, my family, my wife, my kids. So I was extra careful,
Hmm.
and because I had my own business, because I had the resources, because I could schedule my own, manage my schedule.
Hmm.
I try to take advantage of every possibility and every blessing that I had.
Right.
And, I would, every 6 months, I would go there for, a few weeks. And then you kind of did
Right.
Everest Base Camp. And then you kind of hung out, you tested your gear, you met with people. And
Hmm.
every time I learned something new.
Hmm. Hmm. So, what were you learning in this process?
So you're learning about gear, you're learning about
Hmm.
different conditions, you're learning about how people reacted to
Hmm.
the various things that could happen on Everest. They're
Hmm.
telling you what to expect and how do you react to different stuff. They're telling you what happens at Camp 1, what happens at Camp 2, all the things that could go wrong, all the things that could go right, how much support you need, what kind of food you should eat, how many calories, all these logistics, all these
Hmm.
the nitty gritty that you're not going to find in a book. Nobody's going to
Hmm.
tell you, hey,
Hmm.
eat 5,000 calories.
Right.
Nobody's going to tell you, maybe, you need to drink, uh, so many fluids, or, you may have trouble eating it, or I'll give you an example, like a water
Hmm.
bottle, right? So if a water bottle, when you fill the water bottle, if you don't clean the top really, really good, and you just
Hmm.
close it, once you get up on, Camp 1, Camp 2, the thing is frozen. It's frozen shut. You
Hmm.
can't open it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, just the little things that, hey, before you close it at base camp, you got to wipe it very, very nicely.
Hmm.
Make sure
Hmm.
there's no water, so there's no chance of it freezing, because when you need it, you need to be, able to open that bottle.
Right.
But normally when people fill it, there's always spillage, and there's always, nobody cleans the top before you close it. But
Right.
that's
Right.
something that, they had taught me. Like, hey, every time you fill the water bottle, make sure you clean the top very, very well before you close it.
Mm-hmm.
because if the top freezes, even though you have the water, it's of
Yeah.
no use to you.
Right.
So, just
And
little
what?
things.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. What about your own physicality? I mean, you run marathons. I mean, you've been running quite regularly. How and talking about running itself, what typical volumes per week were you running around this time when you around your 40th marathon?
So I was doing about 30 to 40 miles a week.
30, 40
That was
miles
my kind of
volume,
volume,
right? So
and
there
I
was
was
some
in
level
really
of.
good shape.
Hmm.
Yes, so there was I was very comfortable. I was doing
Mm,
a marathon a month towards the end. I was in really good
mm,
shape.
hmm.
I wasn't stressing it. I was just flying, running the marathon, and coming right back,
Hmm.
and then just going back to work next day. So it was
Yeah.
a very simple process. I was in
Hmm.
good shape,
Hmm.
thank God.
And how did was there when you started getting ready for Everest, and you did these EBCs 5 times. Did you feel that a body was demanding something different from your running, and what did you learn about that?
So typically ultra runners are in good shape, are in good
Mm,
heart health shape, and
mm,
their oxygen absorption is pretty good.
mm,
So some of the people that I had met had, they were ultra runners also, and they would
mm,
say, hey, you have an advantage over somebody that's not done any cardio. So just
mm,
because
mm.
you've been doing it for so long, and you've done so much, you have an advantage.
Right.
You just need specific training. So you just need training on ladders. You need training with
Mm,
crampons. You need training with your ice axe. You need just training. You need technical training.
right. Right.
But from a cardio perspective, you're good.
Right.
And that
Right.
that gave me confidence, and it did make life easy because you're not
Mm,
trying to do 10 different things at the same time. So when I
right.
was trying to learn the technical aspects, I wasn't running 80 miles a week or 100 miles a week to trying to get into better cardio shape. I was in good
Mm,
shape.
right. Right. Great. And how was the and what year did you summit Everest?
2019.
2019. And how was it?
How was it?
How
It
was
was
your?
tough.
Mm,
Yeah, as usual, Everest is never going to be easy. Nobody's going to say, "Hey,
mm,
I just went for a stroll." It was stressful,
mm,
and you're in an environment where you can't really practice for it. You're in the
mm,
death zone. You're in minus 30, 40-degree temperatures with 50-mile winds with nothing around you. So it is
mm,
a stressful place to be, and I was happy to come back. I was glad. The fun was in the journey. It was
mm,
only a few minutes at the top. You go, you say a small prayer, you sit down for a few minutes, you look around you, and then look at the watch and say, let's get out of here. It's a God forbidden
mm.
place. God doesn't want you here. It's the
Right, right.
closest you're going to be to God, and you just say a little prayer, and then you move down, and then
Mm,
you kind of have to focus on really really getting down, because most of the mishaps, most of the bad
mm,
things happen coming down.
mm,
When you're
mm,
going up, you have the adrenaline, you have, you're still relatively fresh, you have all the
mm.
supplies, you have the food, everything you need. And then once you
Yeah,
get up, you need some really extra motivation to try and come back, uh, because the adrenaline's not there anymore, and you're kind of
yeah,
tired, and you've achieved your goal, and
yeah.
nothing else matters.
Mm.
Nothing else matters. But
Right, right.
coming down is mandatory, so it was important for
Interesting.
me.
Yeah, fascinating. So a lot of folks who do these extremely challenging mountaineering summits say it fundamentally changes you as a person. Did that happen to you at all, or did some new
So uh,
perspective?
so nothing happened at the top. When I got to
Mm-hmm.
the top, there was no epiphany. There was nothing magical happening.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened in the journey. you
Mm,
know, as part of the journey, I went to Nepal 5 times. I met some really, really cool people. I learned
mm,
a lot of stuff, and you kind of
mm,
learn to live with yourself. So
mm,
mountaineering is kind of it's a boring sport. So
mm,
you go up a few feet, and then You hunker down in a tent, and it's really, really cold, and it's windy, and you kind of just lying in your sleeping bag in a tent, hoping everything doesn't blow away, and you're just there for 1 day, 2 days, or whatever it takes for you
Mm.
to get over that storm. And then you come down, and you kind of freshen up a little bit, then you go back up. So it's kind of a boring thing, and you kind of have to learn how to stay busy. Your mind
Mm.
is playing tricks on you. You still have 24 hours,
Yeah.
and you're still awake. Your mind is still fully functional, and even though it's bitter cold outside and there's no place, and you're still all huddled up, all balled up in your sleeping bag, and then you got something else on top. You kind of learn to appreciate what you have. I know when I
Mm.
came back, I really appreciated a hot shower, some warm food, just to be around family and not have to, break ice every time and warm it up
Mm.
for some water. So just learns you learn so much about yourself when you're in a fight for survival. When you take everything out, there's no electronics, there's no
Mm.
luxuries, there's no
Right.
bathrooms, uh, there's no prepared meals, and just when you break everything down to its essence,
Mm.
everything is broken down to the atomic level.
Mm.
Everything is bare, all your thoughts are bare, and then you kind of have to figure out how do you live with yourself, what do you do, how do you kill time.
Mm.
And it's almost meditative. You're just you're lying down, you got nothing to do, but your mind is fully active.
So how
And
do you do it? How did you, for you, how did you manage to, how did you manage that time of nothing, doing nothing?
so you just have to work with the stillness. You just have to
Mm.
learn to be comfortable with nothing. There's
Mm.
nothing going on. There's howling winds, and it's very, very cold, and you just
Mm.
uh, huddled in, and you don't let bad thoughts come in your mind. You're not
Mm.
thinking, hey, I'm going to get blown off this cliff in the next 5 minutes. You're thinking, hey, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be down at base camp. I'm going to have
Mm.
accomplished my mission. In 3 weeks, I'm going to be home with my kids, and I'm going to be drinking the hot coffee and the cold beer, and eating the nice food. So you're just working on positives. You're just
Mm.
trying to turn every negative into a positive and say, hey, this is good. I'm going to use this time to reflect. I'm going to use this time to kind of think about my relationships. I'm going to use
Mm.
this time to go back and try and be a better person. You kind of
Mm.
reflect on things and say, hey, uh, you know what, I was a jerk maybe. 6 months ago I said this to somebody, and maybe there was a better way of handling
Mm.
that. So you kind of revisit a lot of things that have gone on.
Mm.
That's the only way, at least for me, it was to kill time, to reflect, to meditate, and just
Mm.
work on myself. And that's where the learning was. Getting to the
Mm.
top was kind of was okay. It was great. It's life changing in the sense that the journey that you have to take to get there, that's what transforms you. Getting up
Mm.
doesn't. So if somebody had a magical transporter and they took you to the top and brought you back, nothing's gonna happen.
That's gonna happen.
It's
Yeah.
the 6 weeks that you spend on that mountain trying to get there and negotiate every obstacle that comes in your way. That's what
Mhm.
changes you. You kind of
Yeah.
learn about life, that no matter how dark it is, no matter how windy it is, no matter how cold it is, the sun will come up again. It is going to get warm, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to be able to do all these things. And, when I get up in the morning and I open my, uh, the gate or the cover for my sleeping bag, it's going to be a beautiful view. It's
Mm.
not going to be anything like it is right now with, the howling winds and the blinding gale and all the snow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's very profound, and I think the thing that you said about just being with yourself and realizing multiple things, including being a jerk with someone, must have been extremely transformative. And must be a load of weight just getting lifted off your heart, or whatever the way to, for a lack of a better word. That itself is hugely transformative.
It did, and every time I went on that mountain and I came back, I appreciated life a little bit
Mm,
more. I appreciated the people in my life a little bit more,
mm, mm,
and I was just a nicer person to be around. I
mm,
wouldn't, if the food wasn't warm enough, I wouldn't, just, you know, uh, lose myself.
mm,
I was just a nicer person to be around, just
mhm,
because I had seen so much. And then you kind of realize that this is all trivial stuff.
mm,
Relationships are important.
mhm.
Staying focused is important, and the small things they'll work itself out.
Right.
You don't have to have uh, lunch at 1, and if your food comes in underprepared, it's really not a big deal. Or if
Mm,
you go somewhere and it's not in perfect shape, it really doesn't matter. We're all
yeah.
humans, and we're all trying to live our lives. And some are going to be better at others, but
Yeah.
we're going to make it. We're all going to
Yeah.
manage.
Yeah. It's almost like when I hear you say this, it's almost like you get present to the enormity of life for its own sake. Devoid of all the other conveniences and inconveniences that we get entangled into in day to day living. It's almost like when I hear you, you you almost get present to that overarching magnanimity of life itself, and it goes on, and how we get caught into all these trivialities. Uh, is what I'm hearing. What I think mountaineering has done to you, especially something as epic as training and getting prepared for Mount Everest. Beautiful.
Yeah, there is,
Yeah.
there can be no ego on Everest. You're not going to
Yeah.
make it if you have an
Yeah.
ego. It's so vast, it's so huge, and
Yeah.
you see avalanches everywhere. You see cliffs, you see moving snow, you see dead bodies, and you realize
Yeah.
that you could easily be on the other side. You could
Yeah.
easily, you know,
Yeah.
just because you think you're fit, and an avalanche comes, it's not going to help you one bit. You just
It treats everybody
need that
equally
slice of
equal.
luck. Yeah, you just need that slice of luck also,
Yeah.
on top of being vigilant and doing all the right things.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
your faith is, it almost renewed my faith
Hmm.
in people, in God, in
Hmm.
myself. You
Hmm.
kind of realize that, hey, we can do tough things. We
Hmm.
can have big
Hmm.
goals. We can do tough things, and every low is going to be followed by a high, and every high is going to be followed by a low. I mean, that's
Hmm.
just the cycle of life. There's nothing to give up, nothing to get overjoyed or get carried away.
Right. Right.
When you're at a
Right.
high, you just kind of waiting for the low. You're like, okay,
Hmm.
let's be
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
ego kind of takes a back seat when you're in most of these places.
Yeah. Awesome. Amazing. So, so you got busy, you got focused around mountaineering, you did all this, and you seem to also have done a whole bunch of uh, very tough 100 milers in the, amidst all that, including recently you did the Badwater, you've done the Brazil 135, and I saw a few others. So when did that kind of find its way in your life?
So once I did Everest, then it's like, what do you do next? And then I said, hey, I'm going to tackle this 100-mile and beyond distance. I'm just gonna try and stay in good shape so that the next opportunity I get to do some of these awesome things, I'll be ready for it.
Hmm.
And so I came back and I kind of fit right back into running. And I really didn't want to go to the marathon distance. There was no challenge left in it. I thought
Hmm.
uh, it's very doable. maybe I could have gone faster if I trade, did some more training, but it wasn't appealing to me. It was just,
mm,
I had done, and I said, I'm just going to try and do some longer distances. And
mm,
for me, the important thing is the journey, the time that it takes to get to the destination. So I wanted
mm.
to be comfortable with a 100 miler, and it takes about 4 months of training to get there, or that's what it took me to do the first one. So I kind of trained for 4 months, got busy, life is good and you're training. And so 4 months go by, then you do one, and then you think, hey, maybe I can learn some more stuff, and it doesn't always go according to plan. And then, you train some more, and
So,
that's
which
the
was
kind
your
of
first one?
direction.
What was the first one you signed up for?
The first one I did was the one in Brazil. So my first ultra was 135 miler in Brazil 135 in the Andes Mountains.
Hmm.
So I
Okay.
kind of got my butt kicked a little bit. I was kind of overconfident. Hey, I've done Everest mountains, no big deal. Uh, 15, 16,000 feet, no big deal.
Hmm.
But overconfidence has a strange way of coming back and biting you, and kind of
Hmm.
even though I finished and I did it, it wasn't that great of an experience. And then you say, hey, I'm just going to work harder. And we've been working since then, just trying
Hmm.
to get better.
And you've been doing what? An average of 100 miler every year, or a couple of them a
So
year?
I do about three or four a year,
Hmm.
three or four big races a year.
Okay. And what's up? What's with your volume now? I mean, you were doing 30, 40 when you were doing marathons. So, what kind of volumes are you running now?
So now I do about 50, 60. It also
Hmm.
depends on my run, and what kind of training I'm doing. And
Hmm.
I've also
Hmm.
done some expeditions. Last year I did an expedition to Baffin Island, which is
Hmm.
close to the North Pole.
Hmm.
So for that, I had to carry a backpack and kind of be more self-sufficient, learn some
Hmm.
survival skills. So it's not just about running, but it's just about having a good cardio base
Hmm.
to do other things if I so choose, or if the opportunity comes.
Hmm.
So my desire is to go to the hottest places in the world and go to the coldest places in the world, and be just as comfortable in either one of those
Hmm.
environments.
So, and what's motivating you to keep pushing your envelope here? Um, do you just enjoy this process, or what's behind it?
So what I enjoy is the training phase, the planning
Hmm.
phase, this getting to the destination phase.
Hmm.
Once I've done the things right, I know I'm going to get to my destination.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and most of the time, destination's a quick, finish line, right?
Hmm.
Top of the Everest.
Yeah.
Or at the finish line, maybe you spend 10, 15 minutes at the end of a race,
Yeah.
uh, you know, grabbing some water or snacks, or, just soaking things in. So
Hmm.
for me, the finish line is important, but it's not as important as the process.
Hmm.
So I like to space my races, and then also have a few weeks when I'm doing nothing, just time with family. And there's also weeks where it's all intense. You're doing 100, 150 miles a week. I've
Hmm.
done uh, even more than that during phases of my life where
Hmm.
it's nothing but eat, sleep, train for a week, couple weeks, just to get that feeling, or just achieve a short-term goal, and then kind of taper off and then do your thing. The goal is just to be in good shape so that
Yeah.
whenever opportunities come up, we're able to avail them.
Yeah. And so no breakdowns, all smooth. You've never had to. It seems like you've gone from one to another rather organically, and um, any anywhere any time where you had to some breakdowns happened and you felt like gosh, this is not going to happen, or how did you deal with that?
Yeah, no breakdowns. Thankfully, knock on wood, nothing. Uh, you know, there's always aches and
I'm knocking on
pains.
the wood.
Yeah, there's always aches and pains, and there's
Hmm,
always.
hmm,
So I have cut down my distance, or I've increased my distance if I'm feeling a certain way.
hmm.
But nothing, no breakdowns.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm kind of more careful, kind of do my planning. And even though I do want to dream big and do big things, I kind of don't just jump into it and do it, right? So, like for
Hmm.
Everest, it wasn't I just all of a sudden go to Everest. It was a slow process. I took my
Right,
time, took a couple of years. Same thing with running, took my time. It wasn't just I got up one day and said, I'm going to go run a marathon. So
right,
before I
right.
got to
Yeah.
running a marathon, I had done a whole bunch of 5Ks, 10Ks, half
Hmm,
marathons. So it was very familiar.
hmm.
I think breakdowns happen more when kind of people are very close to their limits,
Hmm.
or they haven't spent enough time preparing themselves for some of these challenges.
Yeah.
I like to go slow, and we're lucky in that way.
And what does your family think about all this?
Uh, Good question. Uh, they're they're okay. They're the kind of
Happy
think.
anniversary, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. 25 years yesterday, so
Yeah, awesome.
uh, that's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Without family support, it's not possible to do
Hmm,
anything. You
hmm,
know,
hmm.
you need at some point you need a supportive partner. You need kids
Yeah,
that kind of either support you or don't care.
yeah.
So,
So, what do they
so
think? What do they think about your crazy adventures?
but they are very proud of me.
Hmm,
They they certainly worry for me,
hmm,
and I always tell them that you will see my preparation, and if you ever think that I'm not prepared enough,
hmm,
if you tell me don't do something, I won't. So I
hmm.
respect their opinion, but they see me train. Even before I do anything, I have a on the fridge there's a schedule, and I have, I have hired coaches and I have a team, and so I
Sure.
kind of do my due diligence.
Hmm,
So I'm very careful that way. Just like in life, uh, I'm not gonna go and do something crazy.
hmm.
So it's more planned before any of my adventures. Well, before I sign up for anything, I start talking to my wife and my kids, like, what do you think?
Right.
Same thing about Everest. So before I even seriously took Everest, I was watching a bunch of Everest movies, documentaries, books. So they kind of eased into it. It wasn't one day I
Right.
got up and said I'm going Everest, because that would have been a shock.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Actually, those are great golden nuggets, Ricky, because in what I'm hearing is you not just go out and do things by yourself, but you also take the effort in educating them in terms of how and why you do it. So you're not just kind of leaving in the lurch and have them kind of figure this, think of this as some crazy black box, and have them. So that's a great golden nugget of wisdom for anybody who is pursuing anything. I mean, anything big, right? There's always risks involved. There are benefits, obviously, on the other side, but most people get, especially the families, can get hooked up to the risks part of it, and it's very important for you to educate them and bring them up to speed. So that is a great way to do it. Um, and and I think it also inspires your kids. I mean, they're seeing the
Absolutely,
father, dads doing this, and especially, I guess, in our community, in South Asian communities, we know for a fact now, data shows highest, rates of, diabetes, insulin resistance, and all those, prosperity diseases are quite rampant in our community. And when they see people, and do it, it kind of propels others to take on a more healthier, active lifestyle, right?
absolutely,
So that, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely makes a lot of sense. So, That is terrific. So I think we did get a sense of um, your amazing journey, and I'm going to share your web blog on the show notes. I think there's a lot more which we can't cover in just a 45 minutes, 1 hour podcast. Your journey of 18 years can't be condensed. It needs a book, I guess. But I'm sure urge people who are listening or seeing this to go out and check out your blog and learn a little bit more of each of those events that you've done and your lessons. Um, I do want to kind of switch into some a session where you can talk a little bit about maybe your top five, um, you know, uh, giveaways or takeaways, however you want to look at it, from your journey, and you've outlined some of that in your blog, but I'd love for you to say, "Hey, here are the five things that you want your message to the people who are listening to this that's working for you."
Well, one of the first things is you have to dream big. So dreams have to be big. Just
Mm,
by nature, dreams are something that have to kind of scare you at first. You have to dream big. You have to aim
mm,
for the stars. You have to think outside the box. You have to think just just the thought should scare you when you first
mm,
start, because that's what makes the journey worthwhile.
mm,
And then once you dream big, then it's very important to kind of have a plan.
mm,
Very very important to kind of write everything down and kind of figure things out.
mm,
Also, some people, when they're in life or running, they don't run their own race. So
mm,
uh, to give you an example of ultra running, if I'm running and then somebody starts running besides me, instead of running at my pace, all of a sudden I'm following their pace.
mm,
Eventually, that's not going to work for me,
mm,
right? And the same thing in life, where you have a budget, you're doing certain things, and then all of a sudden one of your friends starts, I don't know, going out every weekend, or
mm.
uh, doing things that you're not capable of, and then all of a sudden you want to emulate them or just follow them. So,
Right.
one thing I always say to people is to kind of run your own race.
Mm,
Don't be bothered by what's going on in your environment. If
mm,
somebody just bought a new car, don't let that influence your decision.
mm.
I mean, if you're going to buy one, fine. If that's part of your plan, go
Yeah.
ahead. But
Yeah.
don't buy something just because somebody else has done certain things.
Mm,
The other thing is showing up is important. Once you have a
mm,
plan, then you have to show up for the plan. If today is a 20-mile run, then
mm,
you have to show up and at least
mm.
try.
Yeah.
You may have to stop after 10 miles, 12 miles, something happens. That's okay.
Mm,
But
yeah.
you have to show up. You have to be there.
Mm,
And then you also have to be consistent. So you
mm.
can't show up one day and not show up the other day.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to work on showing up and be consistent and kind of stick to your goals, work at your own pace. And then the other thing that I realized from running ultras and from Everest is, no matter how cold it is, no matter how dark it is, no matter how windy it is, no matter how bad it is, no matter how tired you are, there's always gonna be another day. There's always gonna be sun's gonna be out and it's gonna
Mm,
be nice, and you're gonna get a second wind, and every darkness is gonna be followed by light. So you kind of have to bide your time. You don't have
mm,
to, or you don't, or you shouldn't give up at the first sign of discomfort,
mm,
because that discomfort is just temporary.
mm. Yeah.
If you just slow down, if you kind of work on the mental aspect, uh, just talk to yourself and say, hey, let's get through the next 5 minutes, or let's get
Mm,
through this really really tough phase that I'm
mm.
in. And once I get through this, it will get better.
Right.
It's 2 o'clock at night, and it's really dark, and it's wet, and I don't see the end. But all I need to do is wait till 5 o'clock. Get from that 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock window. And once I get to 5 o'clock, the sun's gonna start coming out. It's gonna be warm. I'm gonna see some more people. Maybe I'll see somebody I know. Maybe I'll be able to change. So there's so many good things that can happen if you
Yeah.
don't give up.
Right.
And of course, the final thing is, you don't have to be perfect to be successful. A lot
Hmm.
of people have this notion that I'm going to do something once I get perfect.
Hmm.
I'm going to climb Everest after I'm perfect. You don't have to be perfect.
Hmm.
The kind of universe accepts you as you are. And as long as you're doing your best, as long as you're showing up, as long as you're doing your best efforts, as long as you're giving it everything, you will
Yep.
succeed. You will
Yep.
succeed. If not today, then tomorrow.
Yep.
So for
Makes
me,
sense.
that's the kind of those are the big things. Dream big, show up, be consistent, don't give up when you get low, and work with whatever you have.
Hmm. Fantastic. No, those are great golden nuggets of wisdom coming from a practitioner. So that's amazing. That's lovely. So, what's next? What are you cooking?
So I have a couple of expeditions planned.
Hmm.
I mean, actually, they were planned for the last couple of years, but they keep getting pushed.
Hmm.
I do want to do a solo crossing of Lake Baikal in Siberia. Uh,
Wow.
Especially in the wintertime. So what happens is it's the largest freshwater lake in the world, and in
Hmm.
wintertime it freezes. So you kind of, you have a sled and you got everything in your sled and you're self-sufficient for a week or 10 days or whatever it takes, and then you're going from one end to the other on that frozen lake. So, but because of the geopolitical stuff happening in the world, Russia's kind of out of bounds for me right now.
Hmm.
Then I had planned on Gobi Desert to cross Gobi Desert. That also is kind of on hold right now because of there's only two ways to get to Mongolia. One is through China, one is through Russia, and neither one of them
Hmm.
sounds good right now. I do
How do you
have my
find these? How do you find these projects?
Well, some of these projects are with friends,
Hmm.
so one of the benefits of doing some of this stuff is meeting people, meeting
Hmm.
different people, people that I would never come across in my day-to-day life. People that
Hmm.
uh, plan this, do this, and help others do it too.
Right.
So one
Right.
thing I've seen is there's a lot of good people in the world, and my faith in humanity is kind of restored every time I go to one of these places and do some amazing things. Is
Hmm.
you see how good people are. Once you take
Yeah.
them out of this rat race and you're out in the open, people do care for each other,
Hmm.
and people genuinely want to help you, and people want to kind of guide you, uh, help you. They want to crew you. They want to, kind of motivate you. And
Wonderful.
they've gotten it from people and they're passing it on. And at some point in my life, I hope I can pass it on. So it's the cycle of life. You get it, you pass it on, and hopefully
Yeah.
whoever gets it passes on to somebody else.
Yeah.
And we can all enjoy some of these beauties that nature has provided, and some of these places that are off the beaten track.
Hmm. Awesome. Great. I mean, we look forward to the geopolitical situation settling down, so you can go out there, and we'll keep an eye on out to do for you to do that. Terrific. I think we covered a fair bit of ground here, Ricky. And the last part of my conversation is a fun Q&A round. So,
Sure.
you ready for that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, let's do that. So, we never didn't get to talk about food. And I know you're probably a Punjabi, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
And we all know Punjabi food is great, and people who are from Punjab also love good food.
yes.
So, what is your favorite junk food or your indulgence, if you will?
So if I were to say one thing, I would say chole bhature.
Uh,
Something that I have maybe once every couple of years, but I dream
couple
about
of
it.
years, that's it.
Yeah, I dream about it all the time. You go to a restaurant and you look at the menu and it's right there. And then, you kind of think, oh my God, it's, I don't know, 1800 calories for that damn thing. And, you'd have to run, I don't know, 3, 4 hours just to break even on those calories. And you're like, man. And then, you like, maybe I'll do half. And then like, nah, just, so it's something that I dream about.
Right.
And I do eat once in a while, but it's something that like on Everest. I was on Everest. I remember I was on Camp 4. And it was really really cold, and all I could think of was chole bhature. I'm like, I'm gonna go back, and first thing I'm gonna eat is chole bhature. And that went on for a while. So just things to keep your mind busy, keep
Yeah.
your mind occupied. So it's like hallucinations, right? So
Yeah.
if you're in an extreme environment, your
Mm.
mind starts hallucinating because it wants to take you out of the reality and take you to another world, so you're not feeling all this stuff around you. So for me, uh, it's almost like hallucinations, chole
Yeah.
bhature.
Chole Bhature. There you go. The best compliment you ever got for your lifestyle.
I got it from my son one day, and
Mm.
he said, Dad, I'm glad you do what you do. I think you're crazy for doing it, but I'm glad you do, and you do it safely. So for me, that was an ultimate compliment coming from somebody that I'm trying to impress, somebody that I think
Mm.
uh, I'm trying to show him that ordinary people can do extraordinary things if they just put their mind to it. There's
Beautiful.
you don't need extraordinary talent to do some of these things. They're very doable as
Yeah.
long as you do the right thing and you put your heart and mind in it. They're very very doable. You see all the time people doing extraordinary things, and they're all very ordinary people. When you take them out of that context and you meet them one on one, they're simple uh, people. They're very nice people. They have no airs about, but they've done amazing things.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, hey, sometimes the more you do, the lesser your ego is. Not necessarily. Um,
Yeah.
People can do good things, and you don't have to be extraordinary to do them.
Yeah. Perfect. The hardest criticism you've gotten about your lifestyle.
Uh, so when people say that I'm doing things out of my ego, or when people say, hey,
Has somebody
that,
specific that mattered to you told you that?
now just some friends
Hmm.
that told me, quote unquote friends have told me that, hey, I'm very selfish
Hmm.
to put my family through this, and I'm gonna hurt my knees, and I'm gonna be a cripple, and I'm just subjecting my family to all this. And then on
Hmm.
the other hand, there's people that say, hey, I can do all this because I'm well established, and
Hmm.
I have the resources to kind of plan this thing, and that stuff stings a little bit because
Hmm.
no matter what you have, at the end of the day, you have to
Yeah.
do it. You have to
Yeah.
show up. You have to get in that environment, and you have to overcome the obstacles.
Hmm.
So no amount of money is going to help you uh, if you don't have the right mindset.
Yeah.
So to get to that mindset, to get to that point in life where it really doesn't matter, that's important to me. But
Yeah.
criticism like that, unwarranted criticism, and
Hmm.
especially coming from people that are not active themselves, that aren't
Hmm.
that have basically not achieved anything. So that kind of stings a little bit. But then
Yeah.
you understand people are gonna do what project their insecurities on yourself. But it's okay.
Yeah. Got it. Your favorite running gadget?
My favorite running gadget is my Koros watch these days.
Ah,
So I've just
nice.
gotten a new watch, and I'm kind of enjoying looking at my numbers and my splits and my
Yeah.
heart rate, and I wear it when I'm sleeping, so it tells me how many hours I slept and if I had deep sleep or not so deep sleep. So never had access to that kind of technology. So I'm kind of not technologically that savvy. So we're kind of what they call bear runners.
Hmm.
Don't have all the latest gadgets and tools, and so just getting a watch for me with all that information is
Yeah.
eye-opening, to say the least.
Yeah. 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 BARE runners, not BAR runners, right?
Yeah, that's right. BRE runners.
Not bear runners. Got it. Absolutely. Yeah. Koros is great. I use a Koros. I love it. By the way, Koros is not sponsoring this show. Just
No,
so that everybody
absolutely,
knows, we just love the
absolutely.
product.
Yes,
You're a sunrise or a sunset person?
I'm a sunrise person, so I like
Sunrise
getting up
person.
early in the morning and getting to bed early. So
Yeah.
by 9:30, I try and get my sleep in and try and get up early a little bit and kind of get things out of the way.
Nice. Terrific. The last one I have is a question I ask all my guests, which is a movie question. And that is, if we made a movie of your life till now, A, what genre would you place it in? And B, who would you hire to play your character? Which
So it
actor
would
would you
definitely
hire?
be a documentary.
Hmm.
So it wouldn't be a love story, wouldn't be an action thriller. Would actually be pretty boring. And question on who I would hire is, I would hire somebody like maybe Irfan Khan, uh,
Well, Khanfan
somebody
is no more, so
no
that's
more.
out.
That's right, he's out. Maybe Nawazuddin Siddiqui, somebody
Hmm.
very ordinary looking, and don't not necessarily when you look at them, you wouldn't think of them as an athlete,
Hmm.
and not coming from a privileged background, but
Hmm.
kind of doing things one by one, hitting those targets, and just trying to do the best we can.
Yep. Terrific. All right. So, well, you did well in the Q and A, and learned a few more things in the process about you, Ricky. Kind of coming up to a wrap up here. I'll give you the last word. Any uh, last final message you want to give our audience before we wrap up?
So I tell everybody, don't wait uh, to start. Don't wait and say, "Hey, uh, I'm not gonna start on my journey unless this happens." I say, just go and start. And
Hmm.
this thing about being a runner, and it's all a myth. As long as there's movement,
Hmm.
you're a runner. So if you go out and you walk and walk a little bit fast, or power walk, and or even if you just do a few steps of running,
Hmm.
you're a runner. You
Yeah.
definitely are ahead of all the people sitting on the couch and thinking.
Yeah.
So I say, hey, don't wait for any epiphany to happen. Don't wait for something big to get started.
Yeah.
Just start small, and once you start, things will happen. Once you
Yeah.
start walking, good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
You may be able to walk only 15 minutes today, but if you consistently walk 15 minutes, you'll see that in a few weeks or maybe a month or two, that 15 minutes is going to be very easy, and you can easily extend that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
uh, just just start. Just
Yeah.
show up. Don't worry about too many things. I get some people all the time, and they say, hey, uh, how do you run this much, or I'm scared, or I can't drive, or I can't think. And you say, hey, okay, you don't need to think, you just need
Hmm.
to show up, and
Hmm.
then you need to just start,
Yeah.
and things are going to fall in place.
Yeah.
And even if things don't fall in place, you're going to learn a lot in that process that you're going to use next time to complete your journey. So
Hmm.
don't wait for anything. uh, don't wait for the perfect coach, the to get a six pack, and then I'm going to start running. Just go out and do something.
Yeah.
And if it's fun, then even better. If it's with people you love, that's even better. And if none of that, and you just have to do it by yourself, that's okay too.
Yeah.
The key is movement. The key is forward motion. The key is looking forward to the next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Great message there, Ricky. Completely agree. Get started. That's most important, and then you'll figure it out as you go. And you are a classic example. And most of us have been doing this is essentially started small and it just evolved. So perfect. Great message, Ricky. Thanks again for spending your time this afternoon. I know you have a busy schedule and sharing your story and all the wonderful lessons that you've picked up on the way. I'm sure people listening to this can take something away and try it out for themselves as well. So thanks. I'll let you go, and you have a wonderful evening, and we stay in touch.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure interacting with you and your audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricky. Bye.
Thank you.